So now we're going to fill in our ox using the 3 tangles and maybe a little more. I think I'm going to start with Printemps in the center because Printemps is such a lovely, calming tangle for me. And remember I said I'm going to make it like cinnamon rolls. And as lovely and calming as this tangle is, of course, my pen is not cooperating very well. Let's see if I can make it cooperate a little there. These pens will last for a long time, but every once in a while, if you have used them and colored over colored crayon or something, they get kind of bulky. Notice that I put the second Printemps behind the first. And now I'm starting Printemps number 3 close to the other 2. Printemps number 4 close to that because I want to use that principle of tangling behind. Tangling behind is what gives our work dimension and interest. And here I'm going to do kind of a pretend Printemps, just a little bit of pretend. If you miss and don't connect with a line, say like if I'm going like this and I don't connect, the best way to connect is not to, like right here, is just to put a dot. If you try to follow the line that you started with, say if I had tried to follow that, I probably would not have followed it correctly. Like here, I've been a little short. What I do is I just put a dot there, and that'll work. More Printemps. Yep. Who knew that oxen were castrated bulls? I mean, really. I thought they were like a different species altogether. Huh. Very interesting. The things you can learn. So when you have a team of oxen, I guess, well, it doesn't even bear thinking about, does it? No, I guess not. Okay, we're almost done with the Printemps. Come out behind, come out behind. And sometimes what you do is you just do little fakes, little fake outlines behind. And then another Printemps, another cinnamon roll. It's kind of a, this is the official tangle of Cinnabon, I bet. Okay, so we did Printemps. And now I think I'm going to do tidings, but I'm going to do it like I said, so that it's just a half a tiding. It's a tide. It kind of looks like a golf club, so I'm going to do this. Then I'm going to oar it. And because I don't want that to just kind of be out there open to the world, I'm going to add another little golf club. Then I'm going to go back and oar this some more. It can be very daunting to look up the names of tangles because the people who invented them, whoever invents them, gets to name them. And sometimes 2 people will create a tangle that's very much alike. And so in one place, a tangle might have one name. In another place, it might have another name. Sometimes it's called a tangulation. A tangulation means that it was, that somebody took an original tangle and then just made a variation on it. So it can be hard to keep up with the names of tangles. And that's my excuse for not knowing what this is. But I like it. I like the way it's coming. Notice that I kind of did that second one at right angles, and I'm going to do that. And I'm going to do a third one that's kind of at a right angle too, because I think that is the most interesting look that I can get. And I'm rotating my paper because rotating our paper is one of the ways that we take advantage of the fact that sometimes it's easier to draw one way than another way. We all have variances in what's easy for us and what's difficult, and by rotating your paper, what you will be able to do is take advantage of the fact that some things are easier for you to draw one way than to draw another way. We have a little space here, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fill it in. I'm going to do a little pretend of the tiding, of the golf club head of tiding, right there. And what happens when you've got a space and you fill it in with a partial is your mind completes the picture, because our mind is always looking to make sense of what it sees, and our mind always wants to finish things. And so when we see a part of an image, a cropped image, our mind says, oh, but that's only part of it, and here's what the rest of it is. So even though I might not have an entire tangle here, there is enough of a tangle for my mind and for your mind as a viewer to say, oh, I see, that's disappearing behind that. So see, I'm going to do this, and our minds are going to say, hey, there's got to be another one behind those. And this is where, for me, the Zen flow happens. That's what Amy Oak calls it, Zen flow. And Zen flow is that lovely state where there's kind of nothing in the world but you and the tangle that you're working on. It's mindfulness. It's being in the moment, enjoying the experience of drawing, not really thinking about anything else, not worrying about anything else, because goodness knows there's always something to worry about. And typically the things that we worry about are not the things that happen. Something else will happen, something we didn't worry about. And so now I have his flank filled in, and that leaves me with Enzapel. And remember, Enzapel has those diagonal lines, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by making my up and down lines, my parallel lines for that grid, because Enzapel is a grid pattern. Now I'm going to go diagonally to make those diamond shapes, right? And it's okay if the diamonds are not all the same size. In fact, I think that adds to the charm of Enzapel. Now that I have the diamonds, I'm going to divide them in half to make two triangles. And as I said, I'm not going to go left, right through the diamonds. I'm going to divide each one in half because I find that gets the best results. Because if my diamonds aren't perfectly shaped, I wind up with strange, wonky lines. And this seems to do better for me. I'm sure that wonky is not a technical, artistic term, but if I did it, you would know. You would see. So now I have the Enzapel diamonds drawn. I'm going to fill my Enzapel with water balloons. Little water balloons. And again, this is a lovely chance for some Zen flow because this is kind of mindless. It's just kind of being in the moment, paying attention to what I'm doing. I'm going to make those balloons go behind the horn. I'm going to pretend that they lap behind the horn instead of making little ones, because I think that gives me the best visual. And here, this one's going to go behind his ear. This one's a little one, and it's going to go right up to that string line. This one goes behind his head. And yet another water balloon. And another water balloon. More water balloons. It's so odd how Enzapel has this granular pattern, which is kind of weird. And then once it's done, it has this meta pattern. It doesn't look like the sum of the pieces. In other words, when you look, there's Alexa. I don't know what she's trying to tell me, but in other words, when you look at Enzapel, when it's finished, you don't look at it and say, oh, look, there are these little weird little circles inside triangles. Not at all. It has an entirely different character, and that's one of the reasons I really like it. I think it does really well if you're filling in a picture of an animal, because it almost looks like an animal spots, which this is a good time to explain to you that this is not a pure Zen tangle, because pure Zen tangles are not representative, and this oxen is representative. This is what you call a ZIA, a Zen Tangle Inspired Art. So we're almost done with these water balloons. Almost, almost, almost. Okay, and you can see that makes just a really interesting, kind of strange pattern. Now, I want to do his horns, and I want to make them simple because I want his horns to stand out. And I want to retain the shape of his horn. In fact, I'm going to curve this line a little. I'm going to cut him out probably and put him on a background. But if I didn't, one of the things I could do is just go in here and just kind of curve that horn a little bit. And then I can go over to the other one and curve it and darken it up a little. Yeah. So I'm following the curve of the horn with these lines. And that's important because that will help give it a three-dimensional aspect. And now I'm going to fill this in with little tiny circles. Only they aren't circles because in Zentangle we don't have circles, we have orbs. And the reason that we have orbs and not circles is if I said to you, let's fill this in with little tiny circles, you might try to make perfect little circles. And that's not our goal. Our goal is to make circular motions. And so we wind up with orbs. We use the word orbs, and that keeps all the tension out of it for us. This is probably a tangulation. It's probably a variation of the tangle amato, but I just use it every once in a while when I have something to fill in that's small. And again, like with Enzapel, what's interesting about this is when you get done, it doesn't look like little circles or little orbs. It creates its own pattern. And I think I'm just gonna stripe this little tiny end of the horn just to give it some texture. Now, I have his legs and I have his tail. This leg, I think I'm going to keep up with the little golf club tidings. Just keep going with it. Whoops, my aura's getting kind of bad. It's because I kind of hurried. Okay. And now these two legs are in the back, and what I find is I will want to do some sort of tangle that's heavy back there, because otherwise, the reason I want to do a tangle that's heavy, visually heavy back there, is so that it recedes into the background. So it does look like a leg or something. So I think I'm going to do enzapel, but I'm going to do a very small enzapel here, because that will make it more dense. So notice here are my little diamonds. I'm going to make the little triangles. And now I'm going to fill it in. And because I made this small and dense, with my little water balloons are really packed in there, this foot will be darker than the one in front of it. And that's what I want, because dark things recede and light things come forward. And this way, when you look at my oxen, this leg is going to appear to be in the back, towards the back, whereas this one is towards the front. And again, I'm going to do enzapel. A quick little enzapel. And again, I'm going to turn those into triangles. And I'm going to add little water balloons, little tiny water balloons. And because it's dense, because it's small and there's a lot more ink there, this leg will recede into the background. For his face, I decided to do something like Tony the Tiger. Very thin diamond. I don't know why, but that kind of appealed to me. And then I added little dots. I think I'll put one more up here. Some coming down here. And that's one of the joys of Zentangle, that I don't have to do a tangle. I don't have to do something that has a name. Okay, and now I have his tail. So once again, I'm going to make stripes. And that's to give this a dimension, a rounded dimension. And I think I'm going to use those orbs again, because I like them. They're a quick fill. And now the plumy part of his tail, the hairy part, I'm going to aura the outside. And there you have it. That's the ox. You're the ox. I hope you enjoyed this. And I hope that you sign up to watch the next videos, because I'll show you how to color it, and I'll also show you how to cut it out, because I know some pretty nifty cutting tricks that should help. Bye.